I'm Eric Parker. This morning on CT22. This week, students and teachers start heading back to their Connecticut classrooms. We're doing a check-in with one of the state's education leaders on how preparations are going and where needs still exist. And looking for a job with an interesting perk, Vernon's town administrator is telling us why his town is now offering a 4-day work week to some employees. And we're heading to a Connecticut pumpkin patch where some of New England's most monstrous pumpkins have taken root. We're talking with the man behind the gigantic gourds and looking at this year's crop. It's all ahead this Sunday, August the 21st. CT22 starts right now.
From WFSB, this is CT22 with Eric Parker, sponsored by Hartford Healthcare.
Good morning. Can you believe it's that time again? On Wednesday of this week, the first public schools in our state open their doors for the 2022-2023 school year. So how are those final preparations going? And what about teacher staffing? What's new this new school year? These are all questions we're asking Fran Rabinowitz. She's the executive director of the Connecticut Association of Public School Superintendents. Fran, thanks for being with us once again here on CT22. So we're getting ready for another school year. I can't believe it's that time already. And I know one of the big issues is staffing. Where do we stand on teacher staffing as we get ready to start?
Well, good morning. And I think that staffing continues to be an issue, especially in many of our challenge districts. They are still down, like Bridgeport, Hartford, New Haven, 50, 60, 70 openings that they are frantically trying to fill at the certified level. What I'm hearing across the state is that there are many openings for paraprofessionals, for those people that are really essential to the education process. They help so much with so many children, and there are openings in just about every district for paraprofessionals.
So what can your member superintendents do about this? I saw Hartford brought in some bilingual educators from Puerto Rico to try to fill some spots, trying to think creatively and outside the box, like I think any number of bosses in a lot of industries are doing, and we're going to talk about that later in the show in a different area. But what can the superintendents do to plug those holes and be ready for the school year?
I think they're trying very, very hard to go out there and find, through databases, anyone statewide that is certified in a specific subject area. I think they will try to reach those people through emails, etc. It may be someone who is home with young children. Maybe we can talk about job sharing. It may be someone who retired but is willing to come back for a limited amount of time. So superintendents are trying everything that they can possibly do to find people for, certified wonderful candidates for each of those spots. I guess if worse comes to worse and they can't find a certified person, they're going to try to find someone who has in their background, let's say if it's for science courses, etc.
Now, writing in the Connecticut News Junkie on their website, Susan Campbell, the columnist, said she doesn't have any doubt why there's a shortage of staff. She quoted an Ed Week study of 1,300 teachers. Only 12% said they were satisfied with their jobs. 40% of those people, and this is nationwide, said they were likely to leave within a year. So that's got to be part of the big crisis here, is not just how to fill these seats, in the next few days, but also how to keep the people you have happy and satisfied and enjoying their job. Is that getting tougher?
Actually, pre-COVID, I was interim superintendent in Bridgeport for 3 years. And it was difficult then to hold on and retain my staff because they could go 10 miles and make $20,000 more. And the working conditions were easier. There were more resources, etc. So I think we have to take a look at that. I did many exit interviews, and frankly, it's not just about salary. It's also about working conditions and ensuring that we have working conditions that teachers can feel successful at. teaching's not a job. Teaching is a calling. It's a career. It's a way to feel very fulfilled about something that you're bringing to someone else. And you've got to be able to feel successful at making that happen.
Well, you mentioned in that answer before COVID. Of course, here we are after COVID, during COVID, wherever we are right now. I know the rules have changed a little bit going into this new school year. The Department of Health saying their new test mask go. As long as you don't have a fever, even if you have the sniffles, they still want you masked up but in school. What will we be seeing COVID-wise as we head into the new school year?
Well, I'm not sure that you will see outbreaks or whatever. I can't predict that. I'm not a health person, but I do think that you will see for the first time in 2.5 years, you will see more students consistently in school, and you will see more emphasis now on the true nature of what education is, which is the teaching and learning of the whole child. And we welcome that.
And I think part of that goes into a thing we've talked a lot about in recent weeks, which is mental health for students, really weeks, months, years we've been talking about this. Are there some new initiatives related to that we should know about?
Yes, I think one of the things that is, I'm not sure it's brand new, but it's certainly something that I welcome the discussion on, and that is social emotional learning. And I don't think there's anyone that hasn't heard about that now. And trust me, when we first began this, I began it way back in 2007 when I was superintendent in Hamden. It was not it was not a common household word. Now we're talking about it. And what we do realize is that we have to meet the needs of the whole child. We have to recognize that children come to school with feelings, with understandings, with moods, with emotions, as do our teachers. And we have to meet those needs first in order to make our teaching and learning and academic achievement as strong and powerful as it can be.
I want to ask you one more topic. We have less than a minute left. I know some schools will have armed security guards. The district where I live, Lime Old Lyme, will be doing that for the first time on Thursday when they head back to school. Are you hearing that from a lot of your members? Is it a hot topic?
I am. I'm hearing it from more members in the last couple of weeks than I have heard in a while. And, most of our districts have school resource officers. I think the armed guards are coming in because they're less expensive, but they're qualified, retired police people, and in many cases, benefits don't have to be paid. So more districts are definitely hiring them. And we also have, Texas, and it's fresh in our minds. Everybody always reviews safety programs every year, and I see many more districts now in the last couple of weeks offering more armed security.
Well, it is very difficult with the number of schools in the state of Connecticut to take the temperature of all of them all at once as we head into a new school year. But Fran Rabinowitz, I think you did it. We appreciate your perspective. You can talk about so many different areas and aspects, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you as the school year gets going. Hopefully a smooth start this week. Thank you for being with us here on CT 22.
You're more than welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Coming up on CT 22, we'll tell you one town's answer to the job hiring crisis. They're offering a 4-day work week. So is it working? Is there a catch? We're finding out more about what Vernon is doing coming up after this break. And later in our program, he's a man who thinks big, really big. In our Sunday Spotlight, we're introducing you to the person who's been growing record-setting pumpkins for years. He joins us from his property where some of this year's prospects have already taken root. We'll be back right after this.